Srimad Bhagavadgita, Adhyaya 8, Shloka 15, 1-5. मामुपेत्य पुनर्जन्म दुःखालयमशाश्वतम् नाप्नुवन्ति महात्मानः संसिद्धिं परमां गताः। Two types of people. Attain krama mukti. Jitasu and ajitasu. We have seen the difference between jitasu and ajitasu in the last session. Bhagavan explained how a jitasu leaves the body and attains moksha. And later on he also explained how the ajitasu leaves the body and attains krama mukti. Now, from this shloka onwards, Bhagavan is explaining why we should seek moksha. Why so much of emphasis on the pursuit of moksha? Why we cannot seek something else in life? Why don't we go to America and enjoy the life instead of seeking moksha? If you go to America, of course some people are hearing from America, you can enjoy the life. So why should I seek moksha? Then I will say, even if you go to America and enjoy the life, it is going to be temporary. Any material comfort in this world, how long can you enjoy it? You can enjoy it only as long as you are in this body. The human life is limited to 100 and 120, 100 or 120 human years at the maximum. Therefore, this life is temporary. Therefore, we have to seek something beyond this life if we want something permanent. Then you may ask, even then, why should I seek only moksha? The Shastras talk about certain lokas, certain higher lokas, like Swarga. If we go there, we can enjoy the life for a long time, considerably, relatively, very long time. One can enjoy Swarga. Therefore, I will make effort to go to Swarga instead of seeking moksha. There is a difference between going to Swarga and moksha. The Shastras talk about a Swarga, but in the meantime the Shastras reveal that even Swarga is temporary. Kshine punye martyalokam vishanti. Even if you go to Swarga, even if you enjoy a higher pleasure in Swarga, it is not going to be permanent. Even Swarga is temporary. Therefore, if we seek anything other than moksha, it is going to be temporary. Whereas moksha is the only permanent, eternal accomplishment. If we want to get permanent happiness, we have no other choice than moksha. In the following shlokas, starting from shloka 15, Bhagavan is contrasting moksha with the other pursuits, even the pursuit of the higher lokas. Mahatmanaha. See shloka 15. Mahatmanaha napnuvanti mahatmanaha. The Mahatmas those who seek moksha and attain moksha are Mahatmas. Mahan Atma Yasya Saha Mahatma. The one who has a broad mind is called a Mahatma. A narrow-minded person, a self-centered person cannot attain moksha. Therefore, Mahatmanaha Mam upetya param samsiddhim gataha. Param samsiddhim gataha. They attain me. Mam upetya. Having attained me, having attained Paramatma, Paramatma Prapti is Moksha Prapti. There is no difference between attaining Paramatma and attaining Moksha. If you have attained Paramatma, you have attained Moksha. Param samsiddhim gataha. Having attained me, they have attained Parama samsiddhi, the ultimate accomplishment. Moksha is the ultimate accomplishment. Such people, after attaining moksha, dukkhalayam ashashvatam punarjanma na apnuvanti. They do not have a punarjanma. They don't have a rebirth. Punarjanma na apnuvanti. Only after attaining Paramatma, one becomes free from rebirth, punarjanma. Any other pursuit is subject to rebirth. Even if we go to Swarga, we are subject to rebirth. Now you may ask, what is the problem in rebirth? I am happy to be born again. One may think so. Then immediately Krishna says, Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Do not think that the rebirth will be a pleasant one. In fact, no birth is pleasant. Because birth involves the whole lifespan. Even birth involves living in mother's womb, Garbhavasa, Janma, then childhood. At every stage there are problems. almost every stage of life is traumatic. Dukkhalayam, any lifespan is a dukkhalaya, full of miseries, both physical and mental. There are physical pains and there are mental sufferings. Therefore, Punarjanma is not desirable. Anyone with Viveka, anyone with wisdom will understand this. Another birth is not desirable for us. If we think about the problems that we undergo in life, we will have a strong vairagya towards another birth. I should not have another janma. That is when we become serious in the pursuit of moksha. Dukkhalayam and ashashvatam, another janma. Supposing another janma happens in a good body, in a desirable body, like a devata sharira or a gandharva sharira, then what is the problem? There will not be much dukkha in a devata sharira, because the devata sharira does not suffer from diseases, does not suffer from old age, unlike the human body. Then Krishna says, even if you think there is no dukkha, ashashvatam, it is ashashvata, it is temporary. Therefore, any janma is not preferable for a viveki, for a man with viveka. Therefore, it is worth pursuing moksha. Shloka 16. Abrahma bhuvana lokaha punaravartinorjuna mamupetya tu kaunteya punarjanma na vidyate. Again, Bhagavan is showing everything other than Paramatma is subject to resolution. subject to an end. Hey Arjuna, O Arjuna, Brahma bhuvanaha lokaha punaravartinaha. All the lokas, there are many lokas according to some enumerations. There are 14 lokas. 7 lokas below this loka. This loka, which is called Bhuhu. Then 7 lokas below this loka. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Rasatala, Talatala, Mahatala, Patala. There are 7 lokas below. And then 6 lokas above. Bhuvaha, Swaha, Mahaha, Janaha, Tapaha, and Satyam. 7 lokas above, including Bhuloka, and 7 lokas below. This is a map of lokas presented by the Purana. All these 14 lokas together constitute the Brahmanda, the gross universe. Now one may ask, what is the scientific evidence for these lokas? Because we do not see other lokas through telescope, or any spaceship has not landed in other lokas. Here we should understand, these lokas, other lokas, they are beyond the scope of our senses. We as human beings will never be able to see the other lokas. That is why the science, with all its equipments, can never locate the other lokas. They exist in a different plane altogether. Then how to know the presence of other lokas? Only Shastra Pramana. The Veda is the only Pramana to know the presence of other lokas. The scientific equipments cannot find these lokas. But just because something is not found by the scientific equipments does not mean it does not exist. There can be so many things that are beyond the scope of our senses. Likewise, there are so many things that are beyond the scope of the equipments present equipments produced by the modern science also. Therefore, the science cannot disprove the presence of these lokas. Science can neither prove nor disprove. Therefore, it is beyond the scope of science. Everything that is revealed by the Shastra is beyond the scope of science. So there are many lokas. Among these lokas, the highest one is called Brahma Loka. Brahma Loka, if you look into the map of 7 plus 7 lokas, in the model of 7 plus 7 lokas, the highest loka is Satya Loka. Satya Loka itself is called Brahma Loka. By doing certain types of sadhanas, we can go to higher lokas depending on the efficacy of our sadhanas. We can go to higher lokas after death, after this life. It is very much possible. But even if we go to the higher lokas, including Brahma Loka, it is going to be temporary. Therefore, Krishna says, Hey Arjuna, O Arjuna, Abrahma bhuvanaha lokaha punaravartinaha. All the lokas up to Brahma Loka, including Brahma Loka, punaravartinaha, they are subject to returning. If you go to any of these lokas, you may have to return. The life in any of these lokas is temporary. Abrahma bhuvanaha, Abrahma bhuvanat, including Brahma Loka. Here, ang is in the sense of abhividhi. It is an inclusive limit. Here one may get a question. While describing Krama Mukti, we said, if you have performed certain types of upasana with devotion, you go to Brahma Loka. And then in Brahmaloka, you get jnana and you get moksha. But now Krishna says, even if you go to Brahmaloka, you may have to return. Abrahma bhuvana lokaha punaravartinaha. Is it not contradictory? Does this not contradict my statement? You go to Brahmaloka and attain Krama Mukti. Here we should understand certain things. There are various people who go to Brahmaloka. Some people go to Brahmaloka by performing certain types of karmas and certain sadhanas which does not involve bhakti, which does not involve absolute devotion to Bhagavan. Even such people can go to Brahmaloka on account of their sadhanas. If they have gone to Brahmaloka with such sadhanas, then their stay in Brahmaloka is subject to return. After staying in Brahmaloka for a length of time, they will have to return to the human world. They will be reborn as human beings once again. But if you go to Brahmaloka by force of, as a result of the upasana that is done with the great devotion to Bhagavan, then after going to Brahmaloka, you will not be returning to the human birth. Instead, you get jnana in Brahmaloka and attain Krama Mukti. This is the difference. In Chandogyopanishad, there is an upasana called Panchagni Vidya. Such upasanas are not efficacious enough to give Krama Mukti. They can take you to Brahmaloka, but they cannot give Krama Mukti. Because even though they are upasanas, they do not involve the devotion to Ishvara. That is why they are not efficacious to give Krama Mukti. But they can take one to Brahmaloka. And after a long time, when the punya is exhausted, one may have to return from Brahmaloka as well. That is why Bhagavan says, Abrahma bhuvana lokaha punaravartinaha. All the lokas up to Brahma loka are subject to return. They are temporary results, temporary accomplishments. Mamupetya tu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. Unlike the lokas, there is a tu. Tu indicates vailakshanya, contrast. Unlike the lokas, mam upetya, having attained me, after attaining Paramatma, punarjanmana vidyate, there is no punarjanma, there is no rebirth. Moksha is eternal. It is not subject to extinction. Not subject to exhaustion. It is permanent. Shloka 17. Sahasrayuga paryantam aharyad brahmano viduhu ratrim yugasahasrantam tehoratravido janaha. On the statement made in the previous shloka, one can raise an objection. Especially, this objection can come from the quarter of a Purvamimamsaka. Who has a lot of shraddha in the effectiveness of karma. In the Veda, there are certain statements that talk about the eternity of Swarga, higher lokas. Akshayam havai chaturmasya yajinas sukritam bhavati. There is a yaga known as Chaturmasya. One who performs a Vedic yajna called Chaturmasya, he gets Akshaya Phala. The result that he attains is Akshaya, means it is not subject to exhaustion. It is permanent. There are such statements in the Veda itself. Based on such Vedic statements, one gets a question. How can you say all the lokas are temporary? There are higher lokas that can be permanent. Because the Veda says that certain karmas can give permanent result. Therefore, there has to be some permanent loka. Now, this objection is raised based on the Shruti Pramana itself, based on some statement of the Veda itself. This objection has been raised. Then we have to answer this objection. The Vedanti answers this objection. There are some other statements in the same Veda that declare the temporariness of the Swarga. Not only Swarga, any loka that is attained by means of karma has to be temporary. Tadyatheha punyajito lokah kshiyate evameva mutra karmajito tadyatheha karmajito lokah kshiyate evameva mutra punyajito lokah kshiyate nastyakritah kritena. There are such statements in the Shastra itself, in the same Veda. So now, some statements are talking about the eternity of Swarga, whereas some statements are declaring that Swarga is temporary. Among these two types of statements presented by the same Veda, both statements are found in the same Veda, then which one should be accepted as more valid? When there is a seeming contradiction in the statement of the Veda itself, we have to think of the strength of the statement. Prabalya Daurbalya Vichara has to be done. Prabalya Daurbalya Vichara means which statement is Prabala, which statement is stronger. We have to think of this. When we analyze this, the solution given by the traditional Acharya is that a statement that is logically supportable is stronger, is more prabala. Than the statement which cannot be logically supported. Therefore, the statement which says Swarga is temporary, Kshine Punye Martyalokam Vishanti, it is stronger than the other statements that say Swarga is permanent. Why? Because it is logically supported. What is the logic? Yadyat kritakam tat tat anityam. All that is the effect of karma. Any effect of karma has to be temporary. It is a logical fact. Therefore, even if we go to Swarga, what takes us to Swarga? It is our punya. What is punya? It is our karma, our actions. Therefore, Swarga is a result of our actions. Therefore, it is bound to be temporary, bound to be subject to exhaustion. Therefore, the Shruti, the Vedic statement that declares the temporariness of the Swarga is more valid. It is prabala compared to the other statements that talk about the permanence of Swarga. In that case, should we altogether discard the statement that say Swarga is permanent? We cannot discard it altogether. Why? Because it is also in the Veda. It is also a pramana. Akshayam havai chaturmasya yajinas sukritam bhavati. Even this statement is a pramana. It may be weaker than the other statement, but it does not mean it is altogether meaningless. Then what does it mean? We have to interpret this statement in such a way that it does not contradict the other statement. That is why this statement means that the Swarga is relatively very, very long. It is not absolutely permanent, but compared to the human lifespan, it is very, very long. That is why it is called permanent, eternal, nitya. Not that it is absolutely permanent. It is like a permanent job and a temporary job. What is temporary job? if the job duration is just for a few months, then it is called a temporary job. What is permanent job? If you can stay in the job up to retirement, up to the age of 55 or 60, then it is called permanent job. Even the permanent job is not absolutely permanent. Likewise, the statements of the Shruti which declare the eternity of Swarga should be understood in a different way. Apekshika nityatva, a relative permanence, not absolute permanence. So this relative permanence should be understood. Let us take an example. A mosquito. What is the lifespan of a mosquito? A few days, maybe 15 or 20 days, I suppose. A mosquito can live for 15 or 20 days. If you don't bat it to death. Nowadays there is a bat, mosquito bat. If you don't bat it to death, it can live for 15 or 20 days maximum. Or 21 or 25, I don't know, you can Google out. So 20 days is the maximum lifespan of a mosquito. Suppose you are speaking to a mosquito and the mosquito is befriending you. You have become friends with the mosquito. And the mosquito is asking you, how old are you? You say, I am 65 years old. 65 years. Mosquito is really surprised. Because 65 years includes several lifespans of a mosquito. You can have hundreds of mosquito janmas by 65 years. Therefore, compared to the lifespan of a mosquito, a human lifespan seems to be permanent, eternal. 100 years seems to be very, very, very long for a mosquito lifespan. Now, compared to the human lifespan, the higher lokas, they are very, very long in their span of life. If you go to higher loka, like Swarga, in fact the time calculation itself is different. The time units itself is different there. Your time unit is not applicable there. Your 1 year is just a fraction of second there in the higher lokas. And this is very well understood in certain disciplines of knowledge like Jyotish Shastra. Now Bhagavan is giving the time, the quantum of time in the Brahmaloka. 1 day of Brahman includes 1000 yugas. See, ye सहस्रयुग पर्यंतम ब्रह्मणः अहः विदुः. Those who understand the daytime of Brahman, Brahmadeva, not Brahman, Brahmadeva, Brahmaloka. In Brahmaloka, the daytime is 1000 yugas of the human world. In fact, one yuga consists of thousands of years. Then Sahasra Yuga, 1000 yugas, is a very astronomical unit of time. And it forms just one daytime of Brahmadeva, not even one whole day, not ahoratra. What we call one day, 24 hours, is ahoratram. It is called ahoratram because it includes one day and one night. A cycle of 1 day and 1 night. For us it is 24 hours. In Brahmaloka, the quantum of ahoratra in comparison with the human unit of time is being explained. So 1000 yugas form the day part of the ahoratra. Ratrim yuga sahasrantam, and the night part of the ahoratra is formed by 1000 more yugas. Yuga sahasrantam ratri. So 1000 yugas of daytime plus 1000 yugas of night time forms one ahoratra in the Brahmaloka. If this much is 1 day in Brahmaloka, you can imagine the span of life in Brahmaloka, how long it should be. Te ahoratravido janaha, they are ahoratravidaha janaha, who explain all these units of time. They are the ahoratravidaha, the people who learn ahoratra. Means there is a discipline of knowledge which deals with the measurement of time. Jyotish Shastra Jyotish Shastra mainly deals with Kala Ganana, the measurement of time. They understand all these units of time. Therefore, they explain how long is the lifespan in Brahmaloka. In that sense, it seems to be relatively eternal from the human point of view. But it does not mean it is absolutely eternal. After so many thousands of yugas, Brahmaloka also comes to an end. Therefore, if you go to Brahmaloka with the idea of staying in Brahmaloka forever, then it is not possible. You may have to vacate. When the Brahmaloka shuts down, one may have to vacate. That is why it is worth to seek moksha instead of seeking any loka, including Brahmaloka. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om.